Good morning. It's Virginia, the European Travel Whisperer, and I wanted to thank you for joining me this morning as we have our coffee and we talk about why choose a luxury cruise. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, European Travel Whisperer and travel during COVID and all of that protocol. There's way too much, and that's not the purpose for this webinar, but please know that you can always call me or email me with questions. I do keep on top of things and certainly can find information a little bit more quickly maybe than you might be able to, just because we have the resources in the travel industry to do so. Hoping that someday soon, this won't even be a question anymore, but for now, obviously, I'm here to help you navigate through all of those questions. But today we're going to talk about why choose a luxury cruise. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there. The differences between cruising on big ocean ships, cruising on smaller river ships, and cruising on luxury ocean ships. So I'm going to jump right in. Hopefully you can see my screen, and I'm just going to go forward with what the slides are, and we're just going to talk about it from there. So we're going to talk about, we're going to start with describing or defining what is luxury cruising. We're going to talk about size matters, because in luxury cruising it does. We're going to talk about good things that come in small, not packages, but places. We're going to talk about service is over the top, and happiness is inclusive. So what is luxury cruising? Well, what defines a cruise as being luxury, it's exactly what we're here to discuss. We'll discuss a lot of numbers: number of passengers on board the ships, number of staff to guest ratio, number of overnights in a port, number of cabin square footage, and number of amenities included in the price. I think you'll see that the numbers help to define what luxury is. So let's start with size matters. So popular cruise lines have gotten to the point where their ships are getting bigger and bigger. Some of the bigger ships hold over 5,000 guests. That's a lot of friends and family to put together on one big ship for a vacation. The majority of large ships, and when we're talking, large ocean ships, we're talking the Royal Caribbeans, the Norwegians, Carnival, Celebrity, Princess, Holland America. All of these ships are considered what we in the industry term them as mass market, but they're the larger ocean ships. Averaging at this point between 2,800 and 3,500 guests. So again, the massive ships that hold over 5,000, there are a handful of those, but the majority are somewhere between 2,800 and 3,500. And of course, they do have some smaller ships as well. Luxury cruise lines tend to have ships that only hold up to about 1,000 guests. Some of them are a little bit more, but you can go down to 300 guests. And in some small ships, you can go down to 100 or less. What does that mean as far as a passenger experience? Well, it means that you're going to get larger cabins because the ship has more space, larger public areas or a lot more room in your public areas. And it's going to mean that you get more attention from the staff on board, because honestly, with less guests, you've got more staff. Your staff to crew ratio becomes almost 1-to-1. So size definitely does matter when it comes to luxury cruising. The smaller, the more intimate. And in this day and age, people are looking to kind of be in a smaller pods, right? So luxury cruising has become a big option for people wanting to, not be around quite as many thousands of people. Have a little comparison table just so that, you can see number for number what's going on. We've got Royal Caribbean Oasis class ships. They hold around 5,500 passengers. Their smallest cabin is 179 square feet. and their crew to guest ratio. So that means for every crew member, there are about 2.5 guests on board that they're taking care of. And when we're talking crew, we're talking everybody from, the people who run in the ship underneath, to the dining staff, to the room stewards, to the, front desk staff, the excursion desks, all of that. Norwegian breakaway class, they're around 4,000, but their smallest cabin, and they are for singles, it's 99 square feet. And again, their crew to guest ratio is 1 crew to about almost 2.5 guests, 2.4. How do we break up those guests in 0.4 and 0.5? I don't know. Regent Seven Seas Mariner, 700 passengers. So now we're under 1,000 people on the ship. But their lead-in cabin, their smallest cabin, is 301 square feet. That's a big difference. That's a really big difference. And their crew to guest ratio is 1 to about 1.5, 1.6. And then the Silver Seas Whisper, 388 guests. So now we've halved it again, right? And the smallest cabin is 287 square feet. And your crew to guest ratio is close to 1 to 1, 1 to 1.3. So you're kind of getting the idea that, what one of the things that defines luxury: more personal space, more personal service, less people that you're having to get on and off the ship with, and shore excursions with, and dining with. So size does matter, and there is a big difference. That's one of the biggest differences between luxury and large ship cruising. Now let's talk about good things come in small places. One of the other benefits of having smaller ships is being able to get into smaller ports. Some ships even get kind of into the larger rivers. I know Azamara Cruises actually sails out of London. So they can get into smaller ports that the large ships can't even get into. So consider some of those smaller Caribbean islands, Dominica, St. Bart's. The large cruise ships cannot get into those smaller ports. So it makes the itineraries more unique for these luxury cruises. It also, luxury cruises tend to be a little bit longer. There are 7-day, but they tend to be 10, 12, 14 and more. That also allows them to overnight in ports. So instead of just, landing at in a port and running in for a day shore excursion to see, let's say, Rome, or let's say, I don't know, San Juan. These ships can overnight in those ports. And what that means is you can get off the ship and go experience the nightlife in San Juan, the music and the clubs. That's something you're interested in. Or you can get off the ship, one of the smaller French ports and go have dinner on shore, as opposed to, being on the ship. So good things do come in small places, and these ships are able to get into places that, the larger ships can't get into. One of the other benefits, service. It's over the top on luxury ships. I mean, that's one of the big things about the staff, the crew to guest ratio. You all of a sudden have somebody pretty much at your beck and call. It's an interesting experience to get on a luxury ship, and within the first day, not only does your room steward or butler know your name, they know your preferences, they know what kind of drinks you're looking for, they know what time you want your drinks and when to fill the ice bucket, they know what time you might be dining, so they're in and out of your room without you ever seeing them. They're bringing you what you want, because they're learning that as soon as you get on board. They're making sure they know who you are, what your preferences are. Some ships have butlers for every room, and that means you don't have to unpack your suitcase. They'll take care of it for you. You don't have to make your reservations for dinner at a particular time. They'll take care of that for you. You want a special shore excursion? Let them know. They'll look into it and take care of reserving it for you. So a lot of service going on these ships. One of my favorite stories about service on, my husband and I took a Regent Seven Seas cruise for our 25th anniversary. And we went through the Panama Canal. And one of my favorite stories is the going into the second set of locks. It was all of a sudden just a downpour, huge, like unbelievable, inch an hour or 2 inches an hour. I don't know. It didn't last very long, but put down a lot of rain to the point where the ship had a lot of water on the deck. And then it cleared and we all went up on the top deck to watch going into the locks. And we were all, it was 85 degrees, so it wasn't cold. And we were standing in our sandals or whatever in 2-3 inches of water, and it didn't really matter. And along comes a waitstaff in his dress whites, in his dress shoes, with a platter of rum punch, serving us rum punch while we watched the ship going into the locks. Now, we're all comfortable in shorts or bathing suits and sandals, but he's slogging through the water, 3 or 4 inches of water in his dress white shoes and socks to serve us cocktails. That's service. And that's what you will find on the luxury ships is really great service. And you know what? When you're doing luxury, being pampered is a necessity. That is part of the experience. If you love having somebody take care of you and be there for you for your needs, that's what this is all about. And then we talk about happiness is inclusive, and that goes across the board in all of life. But again, let's talk numbers. A lot of people think they can't afford a luxury cruise, so they prefer the larger ships for less money. That what they may or may not know is what's included in the big price tag of a luxury cruise. And here's where, again, I just really appreciate being able to pay the price up front and then not having to be nickel and dimed while I'm on the ship. So when we do a comparison of what's included in a luxury cruise price and what people pay extra for on the big ship cruises, and if you've been on a big ship cruise, that's a lot. You pay a lot of money beyond what you've paid for the cruise to have the extras that you want included. Well, when you kind of do a side-by-side comparison, the average cost per day per person, it is more on a luxury ship for sure. And I'm not saying it's not, but I think you'd be surprised to find out that it comes out to about $100 a person per day more. So that's not a lot to get the larger cabins, the smaller ships, the more unique ports, the overnights, the great service. So, for a little bit more money, a lot less than you might think, because what's not included in your big ship cruise cost, you're still paying. So let's take a look at what some of those things are and what we're talking about. So there are several luxury cruise ship companies now that include airfare, and in some cases business class airfare. So that's a big Regent Seven Seas. They're business class airfare with every cabin. Airport transfers, how you get to the airport and then you have to figure out how to get to the ship. That's included in the price on many of the luxury cruises. Shore excursions. There are several luxury cruise companies that now are including their shore excursions. That's a big cost on a big ship cruise, is when you get off the ship, what do you want to do? And you have to pay extra for that at every port. Luxury cruise lines include Wi-Fi. They include the gratuities. Almost all of them include all beverages on board. And that's not just alcoholic beverages and wine, but that's bottled water, soda, coffee, your specialty coffees. Whereas on a big ship, you're paying extra every time you go to the bar, or you're paying for a package. You want that latte in the morning and not just a cup of coffee. You're paying extra for that. You want a bottled water to take off the ship with you while you go on your shore excursion. You're paying extra for that, or you're buying a package and paying extra for that. On a luxury cruise ship, that's all included in the price up front. Taxes and port fees, they're included in the luxury cruise price per person that you see. On big ship cruises, it's not. And it's usually an extra $150 to $250 per person. So that's, it adds up. Specialty dining, that's become a big thing. You can dine at the main dining room, and that's included in your price. But if you want to go to that specialty restaurant that has less people in it and nicer china and better food and better service, well, you're going to pay, 25, 35, $50 a person to go to those specialty restaurants on the luxury cruises. They do have less choices as far as specialty restaurants, but all of the food is included. You don't pay a premium to go to the smaller restaurants, the specialty dining venues on luxury cruise. So it tends to add up. And again, you guys know I'm a numbers person. So let's take a look at a side-by-side comparison. And this was done by Regent Seven Seas. So I am comparing a Regent Seven Seas with a premium cruise line, which basically is, a Celebrity or a Holland America or one of those lines. So I'm just going to run through it real quick, but I mean, you can see it on the screen, the cruise fare per person and what the inclusions are on the left. So the business airport transfers, shore excursions, Wi-Fi gratuities, drinks, specialty dining, and taxes and fees. So you can see with Regent Seven Seas, first of all, let's take a look at the guests on board. Mariner has 700 guests. The premium cruise line average is around 2,900 plus. Average suite, because all of your luxury ships are going to be suite size. There are no small cabins on these luxury ships. 301 square feet on the Mariner is the smallest cabin size. For a similar suite on one of these large ships, you're looking at around 244 square feet. So you're looking at the price tag. And if that's all you look at, trust me, you're going to go, ooh. So for a 7-night cruise on the Mariner, you're looking at around $7,800 per person. Huge price tag, right? Huge price tag. You're looking around 2,000. So, $6,000 per person, about $6,000 per person different. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. But let's talk about all that's included in the Regent Seven Seas cost and what you have to pay extra for. And let's face it, unless you're sailing out of Florida and you live in Florida, you got to fly to where the port is, where you're sailing in and out of. And Regent Seven Seas does business class air. So add the business class air, it's $3,500 a person. The airport transfers, well, premium cruise line doesn't include those. You pay extra. It's another $109. Shore excursions, well, it's a 7-night. You're probably getting off the ship at least 5 times, paying anywhere between $89 and $159 a person for a standard shore excursion. That's another $675. Wi-Fi is not included on the large ship. There's another $185. Gratuities aren't included. There's $106. And actually, I think that's a low estimate. I don't know what year this comparison was done, but gratuities have gone up significantly. You want a drink package. Well, you want the premium drink package that covers the bottled water and the coffee, as well as the liquor. $538 per person for 7 nights. That's a chunk of change. Specialty dining. You want to do 2 or 3 nights in the specialty dining, another $125. And then, I'm sorry, $118. And then the port fees. Oh no, sorry, specialty dining was $125. Port fees and taxes, another $118. And again, I think that's a conservative estimate. So now you look at the bottom line with everything that's included on Regent Seven Seas and everything that you are going to want but pay extra for on a premium cruise line. And now your prices are really pretty similar. $7,799 for Regent, $7,348 for a premium cruise line. So when you do break it down, it definitely becomes a lot more manageable in what your idea of cost is. If you're the type of person, and not everybody wants to fly business class, not everybody wants the bar packages, not everybody wants Wi-Fi. So, why choose a luxury cruise? You don't have to choose a luxury cruise, but I do think you should be educated in what you're getting for the price on a luxury cruise, as opposed to what you're getting for the price on a big ship cruise and what you ultimately end up paying if you do want all of those included things. So again, it really depends on your preference and what you're looking for in your experience on a cruise, no matter where you're cruising to. But just know what the differences are and know what you're looking at when it comes to the bottom line and the actual price. So every cruise line, just let's summarize why choose a luxury cruise and what the luxury cruise market offers you. Every cruise line prices differently, and every cruise line price includes different things in their pricing. Honestly, it's a pretty big course on all of the differences. So you could take a lot of time to figure out what fits your budget and what fits your style. One of the things that a travel advisor does is I kind of have the ins and outs of what cruise line fits, what demographics, and what you're looking for, and whether or not you would want that included or not, and kind of know which cruise lines include what and which ones don't. So kind of cut through all that for you as a travel advisor. And that's why I'm here, is to help. But this particular discussion was to show that overall, luxury cruising has some benefits that the large ship cruising doesn't, and that when all the costs are included, the pricing isn't that much different. So perhaps next time you're looking for a cruise, an ocean cruise, you might want to look at that luxury brand and take a look at whether or not the price that you're paying up front, that big 70, almost $8,000 per person cruise price, is that meeting all your needs, which are going to be met with the larger ship cruise anyway, almost. I would just tell you that I think that looking at luxury cruising should be something that you should just do your own comparison for, because you may find that it's a nicer experience for not that much more money. And then you come back from vacation and you haven't been worrying about, oh, I wonder what my onboard account is today. I wonder if I've gone above my budget. I wonder. You don't have to wonder. It's all paid up front and you can just enjoy your vacation. So I really, really think that, the smaller ships, the more unique itineraries, the overnights, the longer cruises. And again, obviously, everybody has their own budget. Everybody has their own desire and their own way of doing things. I'm not saying that everybody would fit with a luxury cruise. What I'm saying is, don't necessarily think that you can't or don't want a luxury cruise, because it may fit exactly what you're looking for. So that's my information for today. I hope that you got something out of it and that you come back. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to shoot me an email. I thank you so much for joining me. You know me, I'm Virginia, the European Travel Whisperer. You can reach me online at europeantravelwhisperer.com. You can email me to virginia@europeantravelwhisperer.com, or you can give me a call, 845-810-2747. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day and let's go travel.